Hi, welcome to my video. This is an interesting situation. I've been making a bunch of videos today. I don't have time to do a lot, but I'm doing what I can. And a few days ago, I made a very long video on the Rite of Spring. And so I confess, what happened was I took the piccolo trumpet part, small trumpet in Re, in D, and I started to go through it, and I went through most of the licks in the part, and it was like a half-hour video. So I decided to not show you that one because most people don't have that long, that much attention span. I don't think I have that much attention span. So what I decided to do is go back and just play like 2 licks that the piccolo trumpet has to do in the Rite of Spring. There's an awful lot of music, and so every time I flip the page, I go, oh, this is great, let me play this. And so I got very excited about it, but for your benefit, I'll try and condense it down a little bit now. So the first thing that you have to play in the piccolo trumpet part is this very well-known lick, and I'm going to play it for you. I'm going to play it for you 2 ways. One way is without the mute, because I don't like playing with the mute. And I have played this many times without the mute, and no one's ever complained. And I've actually seen other performances where players don't use the mute. But if the conductor demands it, or you prefer it, please feel free. This is just a matter of interpretation. And since the conductor may very well demand it, it's good to be comfortable with doing it either way. I'm not right now. I would have to practice a little bit more with the mute, but as you might see in a couple of seconds. Okay, so this lick is from 1 bar before 11 in the first movement, the first part of the Rite of Spring by Igor Stravinsky. Okay, I'm going to play it with a mute. This gives me a chance to practice it a little bit, and you'll certainly hear the difference. I find that to be very exciting, and this part of the piece is fascinating to me. I think it was probably fascinating to the first listeners to it. Now it's become a standard of the repertoire for sure, but to me that's like a kind of a strange primitive bird call or something. My favorite one actually from this movement is in the E-flat clarinet part, and it's like dum dum dee da dee go dum dum dee dee go dum, and it does that a couple of times. And it's very similar. It's like it's like another bird of the same kind calling back from someplace else. So you can tell I love this music, and the reason why I love it is because it has so much character that you can experience directly when you play it. So a lot of times we're so taken up with how to play it with a good sound, in tune, sufficient control and confidence that we can do it with consistency. And that's the end of the job. And to my mind, that's the beginning of the job. You want to get to the point where you can express something with this music, even though you're playing a piccolo trumpet with a mute in it, or not. So I look at this as different kinds of gestures. Some of the mechanical things to get past, we'll maybe talk about in a second, but I'm mainly feeling this as a musical gesture. And what I find very interesting is at the beginning, and nobody plays it this way, everybody plays it loud, it says mezzo forte diminuendo. So he's thinking of a certain shape, and what I'm going to point out here, if you think ding dum da 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 da, okay, it's got a complex rhythm to it. Ding dong da 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 da. Ding dong da 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 da. Ding da 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 da. That's the main thing to work out. If that gets in your way and you're just kind of playing whatever, it's kind of close, but it's not really in the pocket rhythmically, then you're going to have less freedom to be expressive. And speaking of the clarinet lick, I hear quite a few clarinet players going dum dum dia, and it's actually a 16th. It's bum bum dia dia diga diga dum bum dia diga diga dum bum dia di da di da di da. It's a 16th. But you hear a lot of people play dum bum dia. That's a matter of interpretation. There's nothing wrong with it. That's where the character comes from. It's like an in-the-moment musical idea. So these things are all not cast in concrete, and we shouldn't think of them that way. But it's good to start with, can I do the rhythm exactly the way it's written? I don't want to be too pedantic, but I guess that's who I am. If you look at the clarinet part, it's very interesting. He wrote very specifically, dum, dim, dee, da, dee, da, okay? Dum, dum, dee, dee, go, dum. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. With the fifth note of the 5 tied over into the next. Take a look at it. It's fascinating because the next time he writes it is dum, dum, dee, dee, go, dum. It's just 4 notes, and now you end up with the bottom note, even though it's the same notes, is now on the beat. And I have to believe that Stravinsky did that on purpose. He was trying to convey a kind of organic, living voice, like a creature of some kind. And so it's not always going to be mechanically precisely the same. So I realize I've been beating that drum for a while now, but to me that's very important. So let's just look at the gesture a little bit. I'm going to do what I usually do. I'm going to play it as a slur. And I can't actually remember whether I've done it on this lick before, but let's see if it works. That helps me because now I'm feeling that it's one gesture. Now I'm going to give it some shape. You see how I'm gesturing? I'm conducting a little bit so you can see how I'm feeling it. This is the detail work. So all the technical work that we do is to develop the strength, the skill, the freedom to get to the point where we can make the music happen. And I promise you, if you're competing in orchestral auditions, if you don't have the music, if you're not showing the music, you can have all the technical skill in the world. And for a major orchestra anyway, you're probably not going to get hired because there are a lot of people that can play the notes in tune, in time with a good sound, and who know the proper styles, which is great. You need all that stuff. They want to hear life. And so you're looking for the life in the music and trying to bring that out. Now, a lot of the stuff in this piece, to move to the next lick, this is 2/33 in the same movement. And this is very mechanical. So it doesn't have that organic effect. It's now the engine is kind of chugging along. See, I'm thinking mechanically, and that for me that makes it harder to play. But I'll see whether I can do a good version of it for you. And then you have a very interesting lick right after that. I'll get to that in a second. So for a lot of people, that's just physically difficult. It's physically difficult for me. I have to concentrate when I'm doing that. One of the ways I would practice it is, again, transpose. Maybe play it on your B-flat trumpet where it's written, on your B-flat trumpet or on a D trumpet. Play it not in the pitch level that it's written, but down an octave lower. So that makes it feel like, oh, this is not physically difficult. And you don't start to associate playing this particular part of the music with physical, duress, pain, stress, possible failure. You don't want those things coming into your mind. You want to be someplace else when you're playing this. Even though it's challenging, you want to be having your mind focused on something that's good. I always hear line. So when I get to that spot with the 16th notes, I'm still thinking line. See how that's a melody? But we can be so concentrating on, or taka, whichever way you have to do it. I was double tonguing it. I do that because you never know how fast this is going to go. And usually it's around the tempo that I just played, but so you want to be able to play it comfortably within a certain range of reasonable tempo, at least. And if you practice it that way, you'll be prepared. This has saved my butt so many times in the orchestra. I prepared to play something much slower and much faster than it normally is played. And sure enough, the conductor chose to go, in the case of one particular conductor, whose name I won't mention, much, much slower. And my colleagues came up to me afterwards and said, "How did you do that?" Because I was thinking in terms of what's the music? It doesn't matter what the tempo is. Can I play the phrase? Can I do the expression regardless of the tempo? But you're not going to be able to do that unless you train to do that. So a word to the wise is sufficient. Then there's this really cool section. And so many parts of this piece have difficult transitions. And as you know, there's so much more music. I got caught in it and I did a half-hour video, like I mentioned before, because there's so much great music in this. But this next spot, you're going, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and that's 9/8. So it's very, very exciting, and a lot of the instruments have this. But this says solo in the piccolo trumpet. So let's see if I can nail it down. Ooh, that was not bad. I surprised myself. It's easy on this because it's so fast, and it's almost, the music feels a little bit panicky. That's part of the expression. It's like, it's getting a little bit breathless. So you can start to feel, can I tongue that fast? So what did I just say? Don't ever go as fast as you can. If you're at the limit, as one of my fine colleagues in the BSO used to say all the time, they can always conduct faster than I can play. So that's the reality of it. But at least we can do the best we can and try and push the limits of our capabilities so that when we have to play something like this, it's fun and it sounds good. Again, listen to the melody. Isn't that nice? Now, another thing that I notice about this, which is musical, is you're in 3. So we're going, do, dum, be. Very interesting section. So it's 1, 2, 3, da, 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 da. So the first note that you play is a pickup. The first 2 notes you play is a pickup to the 3rd beat of the 9/8 bar. Now, that sounds very technical, but actually what I'm getting at is you need to feel where you are in the bar. So it's 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 1, 2, and a 3 and a 1, 1, 2 and a 3 and a. You don't have to count it like I just did. You need to know 1. 1. You see, it's fascinating how much that affects your physical ability to play. So I would usually do kind of like what I was just doing. I don't think I did that correctly, but you get the idea. I'm not just thinking about the qualities of the articulation or the line. I'm thinking about where I am in time relative to where the downbeats are. That works up to a point, unless what's written in the meter, for example, is different than what you're hearing in the orchestra. So I tend to generally go with what I hear, because then what the people are playing in the orchestra, the other musicians I'm playing with, they're going to be feeling that according to the way it makes sense rhythmically in time. But a good starting point for your practice is make sure you know where you are. 1, 2, you get the idea. So I'll leave that with you, and I wish I could play the whole rest of the piece for you, but it's too long. There's too much great music in it. So go check it out for yourself. The parts are available on IMSLP, so you can look at it and download it if you want to. And I hope that you find that this is fun to practice. It's a different kind of piccolo trumpet playing than the Baroque literature. Okay, I'll catch you later on when you have some time. Have a great day. Bye-bye.